Welcome to Devotions from Israel, a 5-minute word of encouragement. Today's devotion comes from 1 Samuel chapter 7. So let's talk about the Ark of the Covenant. Interesting topic. Now, in the late 1970s movie, played by Harrison Ford, who played the part of Indiana Jones, he made the Ark of the Covenant quite famous worldwide. Raiders of the Lost Ark was the movie, and Indy Jones is one who spent his whole life pursuing finding this treasure. So where is the Ark of the Covenant now? That's a good question, but it's only a secondary question, because what the Ark of the Covenant represented in the days from, for instance, the days of Moses, on to a time period when it was most likely hidden by King Josiah in the days of the Old Testament. So for hundreds of years, the Ark of the Covenant played a very important role. So our story here, it's really just one or two verses from 1 Samuel 7, mentions the Ark of the Covenant. Let me read this passage, and it's not necessarily devotional material, but let me explain what I plan to share in light of this chapter 7 of 1 Samuel. So the men of Kiriath Jearim came and took up the ark of the Lord. They brought it to Abinadab's house on the hill and consecrated Eleazar his son to guard the ark of the Lord. And the ark remained in Kiriath Jearim a long time, 20 years in all. So what devotional thought could we extract from these two verses? Well, prior to this, once Joshua crossed with the Ark of the Covenant leading the way, remember, as they crossed the Jordan River at flood stage, the Ark of the Covenant carried by the priests, it leads the way, and of course the water parts into two, and they cross on dry ground. The ark played a very significant role in the tabernacle, as then eventually established at a place called Shiloh or Shiloh. For over 300 years, the Ark of the Covenant rested within the tabernacle at Shiloh. However, 1 Samuel 4 mentions a not-so-pleasant event that involved a battle against the Philistines at a place called Aphek. Now, the Israelites thought the Ark of the Covenant would be some kind of guarantee of victory, so they took the Ark of the Covenant into battle, and there at Aphek, it's lost to the hands of the Philistines. It actually bounces around in 3 Philistine cities prior to it ending up at a place called Ekron. So the Ark of the Covenant causes all kinds of issues to the Philistines, so they want to send it back to the Israelites. They've had enough of all of these issues that were caused upon them physically. So they build a cart. They hitch up 2 cows to it. This is preserved in chapter 6 of 1 Samuel. And they send it eastward along the Sorek Valley, around the shoulder of Ekron, and here it comes. The text is clear that those who were living at Beth Shemesh were harvesting their wheat in the valley, the Sorek Valley, and they look up, and lo and behold, here comes the ark. It's being returned to them. And it's a amazing, incredible event. Who would have thought that the ark taken in battle by the Philistines would now be returned to the Israelites. What did the ark represent? That's the question. Of course, what happened at the end of chapter 6 is some people look into the ark and they're struck dead on the spot. So the Israelites, even in the days of 1 Samuel 6, realized that the ark represented the holiness of God. But after this event, here comes chapter 7, verses 1 and 2, and the people from Kiriath Jearim, which is just east, it's actually located, this city about 7 miles west of Jerusalem today, a place called Abu Ghosh. In fact, the site is being excavated. And it's believed that perhaps this was, at least while the Ark of the Covenant was there, that Kiriath Jearim was some kind of cultic high place as well in this transition period between when David would take the Ark eventually, when he would become king, to Jerusalem. And of course, prior to the building of the temple, where the Ark of the Covenant played a very significant role in Solomon's temple. So what kind of devotional material can we think of when we talk about the Ark? Could it be that the Ark represented, as I mentioned, the holiness of God? The Ark was really representative of something bigger than the Israelites. In terms of our own walk of faith, sometimes we get caught up in terms of how important we are. But when we consider how insignificant we are, though God has called us by His grace and goodness, we are to keep our eyes upon Him. Now, eventually, the Ark of the Covenant would be, in the words of Jeremiah chapter 3, no longer needed, nor would it be remembered. This is what Jeremiah wrote in chapter 3. I believe it's verse 16. This was probably at the time that Josiah was already hiding the ark from the impending Babylonian army who were advancing from the north. But could it be that for us, there's so much more important things to keep our focus on, to keep our eyes on? In the days of the Old Testament, the Ark of the Covenant, again, represented God's holiness and certainly God's direction and goodness and provision. But we are encouraged to keep our eyes on Jesus. Think of what the author of Hebrews would write. Keep our eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. So while Indiana Jones and other archaeologists may be interested in pursuing where the Ark of the Covenant is located today, still people are searching for it. Perhaps a better, more encouraging pursuit is to keep our eyes focused on Jesus, who is really the fulfillment of what the Ark of the Covenant represented in the days of the Old Testament. Jesus is the one who has completed or finished the work of Christ, and He is the one who we place our faith in as well. So be encouraged today and keep your eyes on Jesus. Until next time, Shalom.